Gummy bears are part of the process from time to time. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Collins and Angela Collins coming to you from beautiful San Antonio, Texas, the second most powerful, passionate, purposeful coach and speaker in the world. And that's the little hole that we look at right there, I believe. So this is for my buddy Wayne, whom I love dearly, my brother from another mother. And he was talking about how do you stay in momentum. So we are somewhat of an anomaly. I will say what others say about us. They call us a power couple. Power couple primarily because I think as we had kids, kid after kid after kid after kid after kid, what would you say that has done for us mentally?
Our capacity has had, it's lifted a ceiling. It's just taken us off the ceiling that we were once at, and then we had to kind of just think, I don't know, just our creativity, thinking had to get bigger with each kid that we had.
So, I had somebody the other day say, I don't know how you guys do that with, you guys have 7 kids, right? Like, yeah, we have 6 in the house, 7 total. And they said, it's so hard because I only have 1. I can't imagine that. And I told her, I said, you know what? I really feel like 1 kid can actually be harder than the 6 that we have, because with 1, you are constantly aware of a couple of things. You're thinking, number 1, every choice I make and every decision I make with this kid is either going to mean they're going to be the president of the world or they're going to wind up on Jerry Springer. Like, you feel like every decision you make is absolutely going to completely change their world, so you are on like high alert, right?
Absolutely.
So I remember she used to travel to the other side of town to buy
I go to the farmer's market and buy 25-pound bags of carrots because I juiced constantly for the first one.
Yeah, so she did juice. She used this like green powder that was some type of really
like
high
barley
greens or something like that. And so like she had to have everything perfect. Victoria was like, perfect. If it's not perfect, it's not good enough. And I was joking the other day, I came home a while back and we had the youngest, Christian, who's number 7, and he was like, all I saw was Angela's in the kitchen and he was like under the dining table and he put something in his mouth. I go, Angela, he put something in his mouth. Angela. And she looks at me and she's like, Steve, tell him what you said.
Like, he'll just poop it out. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's just, and who cares that we didn't have that food last night for dinner? It was 2 meals ago or 2 days ago.
Who knows? Hopefully it was food and not like some type of an animal or something like that. But the truth of the matter is that your capacity increases. As your capacity increases, your ability to believe for greater things increases, not because you become a freaking awesome person, but because the demand is placed on you to do it. And so I know something Tony Robbins says that we talk about is you either begin that catalyst of change through desperation or inspiration. So we really, initially, it was desperation in the sense that, holy cow, every time Angela got pregnant, I was like, I need to make another 30 grand. I need to make another, I need to sell another, 10 houses this year. And I just kept increasing my capacity because failure was what?
Not an option.
Failure is not an option. So one of the things Angela's done that I've done that we regularly do is on Sunday night, I'll let Angela tell you what we do, and it's all based on our priority. So we have a priority, and it's this: I am not going to build a business that sacrifices my relationship with my lover here or my children. I'm not going to build a business, and I'm not going to lie to myself saying, well, I'm doing all this good stuff for them, neglecting them, neglecting date night, neglecting Angela. Now you got to understand, guys, I'm not a brilliant guy. I'm not even really a really super smart guy. I'm a guy that I'm completely dependent, moment by moment, on the wisdom and the direction of the good Lord, period. And I'm very careful to study what he says men and women truly should and could follow to become successful. Does that make sense? So I'm not some brilliant guy. I just learned to listen and to put into practice what I learned. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
So how do we start almost every single day?
Okay, so the first thing we do, we wake up, we always pray together for the most part. That's just our standard. Let me just say this. What I'm going to share are just standards that we do. Do we do it every single day? Not every single day. However, we're aiming for consistency, not perfection, we're aiming just to be consistent with each other and with what our values are. So we always will pray together, then we read a Jesus Calling. And
It's a daily devotional called Jesus Calling. It's freaking awesome.
And then most mornings, I aim to work out at 5 a.m. at least 3 mornings a week. And Steve does it pretty much 5. So sometimes it'll be 4 or 5. Right now, the season I'm in, it's 3.
But she looks better than me. Look, she's got, come on, y'all.
And so that's one of the ways that we stay connected, him and I together. However, we are early birds. Even if I don't go to the gym, I'm still up.
We became early birds. We used to stay up really late. We used to stay, I just want to give that caveat. People, well, I could never wake up that early in the morning, you know. Well, we couldn't either. It wasn't natural. It's not natural to wake up before the crack of dawn. We had goals that we wrote out. And when we were writing out those goals, one of the things that was very important to us in writing those goals was coming to the place where we realized if we really wanted to achieve, we were going to have to make some major changes in how we did things. And so one of the things that was like, for instance, my goal was, okay, I want to be in great shape. I want to be in really great shape. I'm 48. I want to be in great shape. Not only do I want to be in great shape, but I want to be able to plan in the morning. I want to be able to prepare in the morning. I want to be able to pray in the morning. I want to have breakfast with my kids in the morning. I want to have time with Angela in the morning. I want to have some quiet time in the morning before I even start my day. So it occurred to me, all of this would work if I could just get up at 4:15 in the morning. And that was really a huge mental struggle. Yeah.
I probably started doing that about 4 years ago, and then it's a habit now.
Oh no, you did 4 years ago. I was doing it with John Talley way back in the day, for like 8 years ago.
He was doing it more years ago than I was. So
I rarely have cooler things than Angela.
We try to laugh a lot. We try to laugh a lot. He keeps me laughing. And what are other things that we do to stay?
Well, so what we have found is to run with momentum, we have to know our priorities. So once we know what our priority is, which is God, then our family, then the business or whatever goals we have. Angela and her competing in her fitness competitions, me with building. You know, Hanky, I love you, brother. One of the things that we have to do is we have to stay in that groove of what is our priority, and we're constantly reminding ourselves of this. Does this line up with our priority? Is this decision going to honor our priority, or is it going to compromise? Are we living a life of principle once we've decided what we have chosen is important to us, or are we living a life of preference where maybe today, we don't have to do that. Does that make sense? Yeah. So on Sunday night, tell them what we do most every Sunday night.
Sunday night. Sunday night we'll sit at the table. It ends up being, an hour and a half. Just to
this
plan.
Is the schedule part, Wayne.
We haven't planned a date night. Okay, this is the other thing too, is sometimes, like I said, we're aiming for consistency, not perfection. We realized probably last week that we hadn't been out.
I'd realized it for a month.
Yeah, we hadn't been out in about a month. So that's something that somehow with the business of our lives, kids, practices,
well, we had the book too, and I was exhausted. We were wrapping up the final touches of my book coming out in the next 7 or 8 days. And so all of the details that went into the completion of that were ridiculous. There was a lot of time. I would come home from work and go straight to bed, because I was exhausted. I'd wake up at about 9 or so and then grind for a couple of hours very focused. So I was just tired.
Yeah, so we schedule. We're pretty scheduled people, and so we try to do our date night once a week, and then we'll put in, okay, let's try to do a family, or intend to do a family dinner. We aim for eating family dinners twice a week at least. What else are we scheduling?
Well, what we do is basically she has her calendar and I have my calendar. And we're sitting down with our calendars and we're talking about our priorities. So we write in the things that we know we're going to do. Okay, we got church on Sunday. We're working out. We're waking up at 4:15 in the morning. We're going to do our workout 5 days a week. So we write in our calendars exactly what we know we're going to do consistently. Then because I'm not in the know, and I just want to say this publicly with people who follow us, that I couldn't do what I do as a coach or running a real estate team without the complete and total peace of mind that I have knowing that Angela has got this home thing covered. And like, I mean, at Fortune 100 CEO excellence level, because she's so focused on that, it allows me to do what I do during the week. So then I am able to come in and say, okay, babe, what's going on with the kids this week? What do we need to do? And then what do you bring into that?
Usually just the details. I bring in all the details of just the kids and what we need to do, where we need to be, things like that. And the other thing too that I know that keeps us
Wayne,
forward.
Finally, I love you, brother. Good to see you. The non-negotiables. The non-negotiables.
Oh, what are non-negotiables?
The non-negotiables are this is going in our schedule no matter what. We're not going to compromise this.
I'd say it'd have to be prioritizing time with us, and that can be LinkedIn. I know a while back we CrossFitted together for two years. We did that straight. So each season in life is going to call for something different. And so it's kind of determining what season are we in life right now. Right now, Steve's in a building season, building the coaching program and the book, and just taking a different, just a building thing. So it's like, what season are we in? What is going to be different priorities? But it's always us first, normally. I want to say, trying to say.
When we say God, family, business, a lot of people wonder what that means. Well, there's a priority in the God that we serve, Jesus' daddy. And that is the priority. He says, Steve Collins, no matter how good of a coach you become, no matter how many lives you impact, no matter what this book does or where it goes or what you do in life, you really are failing if this woman who's got her ring on your finger is unfulfilled, unhappy, untouched, if you haven't made a difference in her life. So it doesn't matter what anybody else says or thinks about what I do or how I do it. 100% of my value and worth comes from who I am in God first, and two, whether Angela tells me I'm doing okay and growing as a man, because the world can see what they want to see, but she really knows what's going on with me. So the whole world can be applauding me, and I could be a piece of crap husband behind the scenes, and she's unhappy, and that's not my value system. So we look at God's order of things according to what we understand, and my responsibility is first and foremost always going to be to my wife, and then my children. Yeah, and then of course we love our parents and our relationship with our parents, but everything else, business-wise, coaching-wise, book-wise, speaking-wise, workout-wise, competition-wise, is all secondary to the priority. And so that's the priority. The priority is, when we say God, family, business, God is his way of doing things, kingdom. There's rule, there's realm, there's reign. There are ways that you do things. When a person comes to the United States and they emigrate, part of what they do is to get naturalized is they come into an understanding of, okay, what are the rules in America? You know, what are the standards? What are the laws? What are the rules? What should I follow? What should I do? What's out of the question? And it's that way we believe, for sure, with God's kingdom. If we're children of God, he has a rule, a realm, a reign of doing things. You know, Jesus didn't walk the earth saying, ask me into your heart as your Lord and Savior. He spoke of the kingdom. He spoke of what it looked like when people were being who God called them to be. So we say we come first because we believe that's God's priority. So we fight with each other like this, right? Where your back's at, we fight with each other like this instead of with each other like this. More often than not, because we still do this. Or now and then, right? Yeah. So Sunday, we break out our schedules. You have your schedule. I have my schedule. And I say, okay, what are the kids doing this week? And then what do you say, usually? What does that normally sound like when we're doing that?
Just rattling off, I don't know, kid stuff. Kids' activities.
Let's just be specific about it so that, like, what does it sound like? So if we're doing it right here, I'm like, okay, what's going on this week? What would you say?
Football.
Okay, so Christian has football. What nights? What's his practice?
Tuesday, Thursday.
Tuesdays and Thursdays at what time? Okay, and then I would put that there, and she would put that there. Josh has karate. Yeah. We've got that over here. Okay, Steven's going to be at CrossFit over here. He works on this day. Christian normally has games on Saturdays or Sundays, so then you show me what those games are, right? So it's like, we're just getting on the same page. We're just saying, okay, this is what we do to get on and stay on the same page. Once we have our schedules synced for the week, then it's just a matter of working that plan. I mean, we have the plan set up. So how do you do all of this? How do you stay in momentum when life hits you? Because us with the 6 kids at the house, you have so many roadblocks that come up. Christian wound up in our bed a few times this week in the middle of the night, and then he was sick a couple days and couldn't go to school. So how do you stay in momentum when life hits you and it changes your schedule?
My momentum is personally through nutrition. Spiritual and nutrition, not really anything new. It's just I choose to fuel my bodies with foods that are going to keep me energized. Try to get my good night's sleep, basic things like that, because if I'm fueling this machine here with the most optimum fuel out there, I'm going to get optimum results. It's going to it'll keep my mind clear when things like our kiddo ends up in our bed. And I'm still tired, but I can push through because at least physically I'm feeling like I could do this.
So a huge part of your focus on physical fitness and nutrition, as well as mine, was really not just aesthetics, like, hey, we just want to look good. It's that we realized if we're going to be highly productive, and these are the machines that produce, and these machines better be in good shape.
They need to be in good shape.
And we better put good fuel in them, because you can, challenges. I know a lot of brothers that I, love and respect that, and I'm still kind of in that category that will work out very hard and yet feed themselves crap on a consistent basis. It's okay to eat. I have beer and pizza from time to time. And yet you have to be aware of how those things affect your body. So you can have a Ferrari, but if you put regular unleaded in it instead of the super, it's not going to run the same. So staying in momentum, how do we do that as a married couple?
We have to be on the same page. We know our goals. We know where we're headed. So I'm going to say we'll go back to almost like somebody, why are you doing this? What's the purpose? We go back to why are we doing this? Because momentum, I always think of usually momentum physical. However, it's also mental. So we keep ourselves pretty much reading. That'll keep,
We're constantly learning, constantly growing, constantly pushing the limits of what we believe. We challenge each other in our language, like we'll coach each other. Like I'll say something and she'll say, well, is that a limiting belief?
Yes.
Is that a limiting belief, or is that a powerful belief, or is that a limiting belief? And I'll be like, really? You're coaching me now? Really? And I love it. I give her a hard time about it, but the same thing with her. She said something earlier, even about making the video, and I was like, is that empowering or is that disempowering? She was like, for real? We're constantly challenging each other, wouldn't you agree?
I would absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, the momentum that we have, I think Angela nailed it. There's a bold law that says your business will only grow to the extent that you do. And so we are constantly in an intentional growth mode. We are constantly looking for growth. And we're constantly being a check for one another spiritually. And for people who are single out there, I will tell you, that's why it's critical to have relationships with people of similar value and similar goals. Because Angela said the magic word a minute ago. We remind ourselves of why. What's the why that we are doing this? So are you comfortable just talking a little bit about your why, like part of your why in achieving? Because a lot of people judge high achievers, and they're just like, well, they just think they're special, and they just want to be sparkly and be show-offs. What a bunch of crap. It has really nothing to do with that for most true high achievers. There has to be a motivation that's sustainable. You might have little flash-in-the-pan dudes and girls who blow up for a minute. They blow in, blow up, and blow out. And talent may take someone somewhere, but only character is going to keep them there. And without that stability of character and that spiritual undergirding, you just are building a building that's going to crash and burn. So what are your thoughts about your why? How does your why connect with when you run into a wall?
When I run into a wall, a lot of my reasons why are, I want to say, some I'll share. It depends on what area. It depends really in what area.
Okay,
what
so
area.
like,
Let's narrow down an area.
Let's talk about marriage.
Okay.
Okay.
Why am I married? Why I'm married?
No, what's your big why? Because we are obviously very type A, intense, hardcore power people, and we can clash. What's your why that keeps you married to a crazy guy like me who's full of issues? Like,
Oh, my why?
yeah.
Because I'm deeply, madly in love with him. And when it gets hard, it's pretty much that's my commitment 23 years ago was, I do forever or till death do us part. That's my commitment through hell or high water. So that's pretty much, we're so not just passionate, but very, like, it's our word. It's our word. That's our word. That's our bond. That's what we're going to stick with, whether it makes sense or not. Whether it makes sense or not. Because even through the fog of stuff, you still push through because there's something better on the other side. But going back to that momentum thing real quick, how do you keep momentum? What happens when you don't have momentum? Personally, I'll find an activity or something to do that will challenge me, and that'll kind of open the door up for new ideas, new revelations, new thoughts, new things to go through.
And I appreciate you saying that. So I do want to say one thing, you know, obviously because we have a pretty good sized audience that will build up from time to time. When she and I do videos together, if you are divorced or separated or something like that, trust me this, she and I don't stand in any judgment, and we don't sit back and go, well, they didn't keep their word, because we know there are circumstances that people have been through that are horrific. We have spent a lot of time in this home with people who have been broken and beaten down and just hurt beyond measure, and no judgment. Even if people just made bad decisions or people were just in a different place, we are in no place. Nobody is really to judge anybody's journey or their commitments to one another, or what they're made of. Who knows? Who knows how they were raised, what their examples were? Who knows how committed somebody is to study and growth, and who knows? We don't ever know that. So, I always want to make sure that we say that we have been very fortunate. I would say we are unbelievably fortunate to just really super value our relationship a whole lot. And we both work very, very hard at it. I was joking at a seminar that I spoke at a couple times, and I said, I believe there's two types of married people in this world. There's people who are working their butts off, really grinding to have a good relationship and a good marriage, and then there are people who are lying about it. Or they're heavily medicated. Or maybe they have super crazy low standards and they just don't care anymore. There's an incredible amount of work. Angela's, I was just noticing your little arm in there. Woo, I like that. That doesn't come from, being on the little treadmill thing. And no judgment. I'm just saying,
as I am on the treadmill,
greater rewards and the bigger things come from a ridiculous amount of work. A ridiculous amount of work. And that's the rainbows and unicorns and magic sprinkly pixie dust that we have on us. It's just called working our blessed assurances off. We really put the work in every area, but not just the work, the right work. Like, we've found how to become unbelievably efficient in each one of these areas, so that when we are on that grind, we're doing the right stuff at the right time, in the right way, with the right people around us. So when it comes to the why, there's whys that motivate me. My why is very simple: to become all God created me to be, so I can help millions of other people become all God created them to be. And pulling gifts and talents and strengths out of other people through challenging conversations and through accountable relationships, through powerful questions. And I'm the guy who's drinking the Kool-Aid that I'm serving first. So I know in the back of my head, like Zig Ziglar said, I can have anything in life I want if I just help enough other people get what they want. So my daily conversation is, how do I help about 1 billion people? How do I help about 1 billion people? Because I told Angela, I'm not greedy. I would just like to earn $1 per person off 1 billion people. That way I could take care of my kids and my family. We could build the hospitals. We could build the apartment complexes to help the battered women that Angela sees. I could build schools for children who are gifted, that we recognize who are entrepreneurs, training centers. We have a lot of big dreams and goals, and we're willing to do the work for it. She's scratching my arm behind the scenes here. I think that's her saying we've been on for too long. So how do we keep momentum? We do the right things in the right way, in the right times, with the right people. And first and foremost, our foundation always has been and always will be, in our daily focus throughout the day, we are utterly and ridiculously dependent upon
Jesus.
She said the J word, y'all. We rely on Jesus. We just trust him. and we hope you come to trust him too. We good?
Yes.
Y'all have a great day.
Have a great day.